I'm Adrienne, your sex positive bestie, here for sexy talk, real stories, and tips that just hit. Ready to play? Let's go. Cheers to the weekend, cravers. That's right. It's Friday, and this is my new episode drop date. I'm very excited about this change. I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for me to be more consistent, and that's a good thing. So fancy meeting you back here again. This is like the OG midlife craving, if you will, where I started dropping episodes every other Friday, and now it's going to be every Friday. And I got to tell you something. When I first started the show almost 6 years ago, 6 years this December, one of the things that I was very nervous about was content, right? Here I am talking about midlife. And at first I had an idea in my head about all the different topics I wanted to talk about or things I wanted to discuss, like how I got to where I was, my, glossary of different characters in my life. And then it slowly started evolving to the lifestyle and dating and finding love. It's been such a wild ride. And I still get a little nervous sometimes where I think, what am I going to talk about? But life just keeps on happening. And I got some stuff to tell you today. However, if there's one fine line that I have to constantly dance on, it's remembering that, these are real life experiences. These are real people that I'm talking about. And it can be tough, okay? Because I'm going to tell you about a situation that happened today. And a little part of me is nervous if she hears it. But I shouldn't be, because it's my truth. It's something that happened to me and I want to fucking talk about it. I'm really hurt about it. And I want to share it with you because I feel like in midlife, I don't know if it's the people or maybe it's me. I don't know. But I'm noticing like people are fucking crazy. And if they weren't crazy before, they're crazy now. Meaning personality disorders and issues. And maybe it's because we're all just trying to heal from something in our past, or we've been damaged so hard that we can't know how to get back. I don't know. As I look around, I'm thinking, God, like, what is going on? Frenemies and people that are rude and mean and crazy, and just how relationships change, and even with family and stuff. I mean, shit, even dropping this podcast, I lost a lot of friends and had a family that had some really negative things to say. And fuck them, right? Like, who cares? But every now and again, something like I'm about to tell you about happens, and I think, should I talk about this? I always like to remember and think to myself, do I have to make amends for this after? And I do try to be the utmost respectful to everyone in my life. But also, these things that are happening to me are my truth. And let me tell you something. If I could tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth about every single thing going on in my life, this would be a number one podcast in the world, but I wouldn't have any friends or family left. Okay. I want to tell you something because, like I said, as we're getting older, I'm just thinking to myself, are people getting crazier? Or is it that I'm just becoming more aware? Okay. Like in your youth, your 20s, your early 30s, you're kind of oblivious, and you're also like really focused on building your life, building your career or whatever. And then you have kids and you're focused on that and raising your family. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into this world called midlife, or this phase. And it's dicey, right? Like the waters are choppy and people are all over the place. And I don't know if it's just, I'm just becoming more aware around me where I think, has she always been like that? Am I dumbfounded now? Like, or was that always the way it was? And I've been saying that to myself more often than not. So much so that when I was hanging out with my brother a couple weeks ago, he said, Adrienne, like, are these people in your life, are they fountains or are they drains? Like, think about that with every person that you have in your life. Are they a fountain? Are they a drain? Meaning when you hang out with them, and even like when you leave them, do you feel fulfilled? Is your cup full? Do you feel like you gained something? You feel happy? You feel, filled up from like your friends, like someone like Katina, right? Like she's probably my biggest source for that. And then also think to yourself, like, or are they a drain? Like, do they mentally exhaust me? And as he was telling me that, I was like, that's a really smart thing. And I've been kind of categorizing people in my life since then. This person feels like a fountain. This person feels like a drain. And I know that I need to get rid of all the drains, but it's really hard to do that at first, especially because you're like, am I jumping to conclusions? Is this going to be fast? Like, should I give them another chance? But just be really aware and start thinking to yourself as you look around the people in your life. Like, are they fountains? Are they drains? Of course, the people that are close to me in my inner circle, I have no drains. I cannot allow that. But there's a few on the outskirts there that sometimes are close and sometimes not, where I'm beginning to notice some drains and I have to let them stop circling the bowl. Okay. So I had something really shitty happen 2 weeks ago. And man, this is tough to talk about. And I know if Mr. Wright's listening, he's gonna be like, oh my God, I know she ain't talking about this. But guess what? I'm going to talk about it because it really, really hurt me and I'm really upset about it. And I want to share this because we have got to let toxic people go in our lives, even if it's tough, even if it's difficult, because it does nothing but drain us, if you will, bring us down. And I'm fucking tired of it. And I'm going to speak and talk about it because we have the right to protect our peace. Why is it that toxic people, narcissists in the world, assholes, they can just do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, and there's no ramifications? And then people who are the victims of that shit have to just continue the abuse cycle. And that's not happening anymore. So long story short, and again, I don't want to get into too many details, but we were having dinner with some friends, and these are more Mr. Wright's friends. And so it was kind of difficult, but we were discussing, it's not difficult. It's been fine. But like, this is a very difficult thing for me because it's his friends, right? That became mine, but okay. Do I sound nervous? Okay. So we were sitting at the table, whatever. And we were discussing, life in general. And I think being vulnerable with your friends and sharing thoughts and feelings that you have is a real thing. And I think people should respect that. But this was totally disrespected and actually something really, 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 really hurt me. So we were talking about, Mr. Wright and I were discussing how, we really do want to downsize our life and slow down a little bit and stop living in this rat race. And, just talking about, our 50s, and something that really has hit me hard, and I've talked about it before on the show, is my dad's first day of retirement was the day he was diagnosed with cancer. Okay. My dad did not get to enjoy a retirement. He was 66 years old, and that fucking sucks. Okay. And I think about that all the time. And literally, like, while my dad was dying and my brother and I were talking about it, we both were like, oh my God, like, life is so fragile. Life is so short. Like, this happens so fast and dad's gone. Like, I can't believe this. And I told myself, I said, this is not going to happen to me. I want to travel. I want to do things. I want to enjoy the downtime. I want to breathe in peace. I want to enjoy life as it's meant to be, not running everywhere here and there and doing all these things. And we were sharing that. And she said to me, well, your dad smoked. And like basically saying, and honestly, I had like an out of body experience. And so I can't even really remember the details that well. But in short, she was basically saying, well, my dad died so young because he smoked. And then there was like kind of like a underlying tone of, well, what did you think was going to happen? He kind of like, he deserved it. Like, that's what happens when you smoke, you die. Right. And it hit me so hard that I sat there and I went silent. And it's funny because I am a very big personality, but I do not like confrontation, nor do I allow people to enrage me or make me pop off. Like, if you see me get really angry, if you see me yell, that is an extreme circumstance. And a lot of people I've told this story to, they're like, oh my God, I would have been like, fuck you, and got up and left. But I was kind of out of body, and Mr. Wright got really, really upset, and he was standing up and he was popping off, which was the first time I've ever seen that. Like, I have never seen him upset, because that story as well, impacts him too. And he was so upset, and I was trying to calm him down, and Humphrey was running around. I'm trying to get the dog. Humphrey just looked at me, so sweet. And I was like stunned. Before I can even think, she just, looked over at me and she was like, sorry, I'm a fucking asshole. And I seriously didn't even say anything. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to get outside. Mr. Wright's in the car, ready to leave. And it didn't really sink in until maybe the next day, where I thought to myself, holy fucking shit. Like, did she say my dad deserved to die? Especially somebody who knew like everything I went through with my dad. And it was really fucking hard. And listen, did my dad, do smokers know what the risks are? Yeah. But it's funny because one thing I did say as I was like, well, that Ozempic that you're using, that might kill you later. So like, if you die from all these injections, like, does that mean you deserved it? Or how about that poison that's in that cup that you're drinking? Like if you die of cirrhosis, like, do you deserve that? Like I did say that, I remember. Again, it's very blurry because I swear to God, it was like, I was just in shock. And it really, really, really hurts. And it's difficult because it's in a tough position because, you know, these are Mr. Wright's friends. And, I really, really had some like amazing times with them. And further, they are coming on vacation with us in July. And this is going to be very interesting. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to be an asshole because this is not who I am. And oh, by the way, like she never called and apologized, never said sorry to me, nothing. And I'm going to be fine. And I have some boundaries that Mr. Wright and I have talked about, but it sucks, right? And I'm really sad and I'm really hurt because I cannot allow myself to be surrounded by that. I can't continue to let somebody be in my life who thinks that way. Like my dad deserved to fucking die. Like that is probably the most hurtful thing someone's ever said in my presence, and to my face. And, I was thinking like my worst enemy wouldn't say that to me. And it was just it was rough. And so I started thinking to myself, like, I want to let go. Like I need to look around the room. I got to really start letting these drains go. And I asked a bunch of you to share with me situations, and oh my God, like the floodgates were opening, and I want to share a few. First one is from one of my very, very favorite people on this earth. My friend I'll say her name, my friend Jenny. I've known her since 5th grade. She's amazing. And she said to me, oh my God, Adrienne, she's like, I was on a girls' trip with a few friends, and this girl who I thought was one of my really good friends was texting someone on her phone. And I saw her phone and it said, in quote, "These bitches are so fake." She said, I dropped her ass off at her house and I haven't talked to her since. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, what the hell? A lot of you have also talked about, people that have been rude to you, your ex-husband who was talking bad about you to your kids, which by the way, like that never ends up good. And this is another comment. Someone said, people think they can say what they want until they get punched in the face. Someone said that this happened to her as well at her mother's wake last year, that somebody said like basically like your mom deserved to die, which is just fucking insane. And then someone else said, my own sister who was my best friend blocked me on everything after I got engaged before her. Like what? Like that's so crazy. And someone else said, Adrienne, I think people just become so insensitive to others the older they get, right? And communication breaks down and people just stop caring. But that can't be an excuse, right? It can't be an excuse for asshole. I have another one. Okay, here we go. My wife and I cut off good friends of ours when we realized they had no other friends or life outside of hanging with us. That sounds kind of familiar. They became obsessive and got mad if we had other plans or we were out of town. One time, they asked what we had been up to, and I told them we were out for tacos. My wife said we went for a movie. We literally, just us two, did dinner and a movie, and they started accusing us of lying and saying we weren't getting our story straight. It was insane. He said, we basically told them that it was unhealthy to be like that, and we have lives outside of them, and we are not going to be available to them anymore. I mean, that's crazy. But I've had that before, like the forced friend, Okay. Another one is, Adrienne, my best friend from school would never call me or text me first. Eventually, after I hit my 40s, I decided to wait and see how long it would take for her to call or message me. I'm now 50. I'm still waiting. Like, that's so true too, right? Like the one-sided friend. I love this comment that someone said. They said, I have a simple test. If you share some of your personal goals with someone, or you tell them some of your personal ambitions, and then when they ask you about it, if they subconsciously use the word little to ask you, that is a huge red flag. And I was like, oh my God, like, how's that little weight loss thing going? How's that little back to school thing going? How's that little business you're working on? Or how's that little podcast you're doing, right? It's a huge red flag, and they're telling you subconsciously that they are rooting against you. So run. These are just a few of the examples that I have. And it made me feel good. I was like, you know what? Like, people are going through these things. And I'm sure you can think of someone in your life right now that you're like, they're probably a drain. And it's tough, right? It's tough to do these things. But I want to talk to you about the signs of a toxic person. And then we're going to discuss how to cut them off. Okay? Because really, guys, life is too short. And like I said, this is a tough situation for me. But I have to move forward in a way that protects my peace, in a way that like I feel comfortable, in a way that satisfies my needs and, holds firm to my boundaries, because this is my fucking life too. Okay. Like I'm not here to please others. And quite frankly, I'm just too old for this shit. Okay. All right. So let's talk about signs of a toxic person. And if any of these resonate with you, with someone in your life, let's start thinking about cutting them off. All right. So anyone that just spreads negativity. Oh gosh. Like I have like people, I've had this in my life before where someone's just always negative. In fact, they're like misery loves company. And when I was breaking up with Prince Charming, or when I was going through relationship problems or whatever, she was my bestie. I actually remember she said to me one day, she goes, "I just cannot wait until you and Mr. Right break up." And I was like, oh my God, like that's so negative and ew, like what a drain. So bye, you're gone. Another big one, and as the person that was talking about it, they say that little thing you're up to is if someone is criticizing you. And I think it's important to pay attention of how they criticize others. Are they always talking about other people, right? Do they always seem jealous or insecure about other people or other things going on? What do you think they're going to say behind your back? I think wrapped up in all of this too is like someone who's always dramatic, like they love drama. I avoid these people like the plague. I really, really do. But it's hard to sometimes. Like some people just love the drama. They live for the drama. They actually don't even have a life from outside of the drama. And that's a huge sign of a toxic person, and we need to get rid of them. Another thing is someone who always plays the victim, right? Or shows little to no remorse. That's a huge thing. Like when she said to me, sorry, I'm a fucking asshole. Like that's not an apology. And that's not cool. And it's not okay. It's not a fan. Anybody who's aggressive in your life, like, right? Like that's a toxic person. Someone who's ignoring societal norms. It's not normal to walk up to people that you do not know and act a fool. It's not normal to make comments on things and people and places that, you have no business chiming in on. The societal norms thing is a really big red flag as well. Like I said, no responsibility for their actions, no remorse. Someone who's very self-centered too. Like they must be the center of the tension. They walk into a room and they need to let everybody know that they're there. They're there, they're loud, they're proud. And that is just such a big sign of a toxic person, right? And then on top of all of this, they have no interest in change, right? Like they're a bully, but they don't care. Again, they have no, responsibility. And the negativity thing as well, too. And like, if you tell them good news, they try to make you feel negative about it. Like, I want to, enjoy my 50s and do, and get out of the rat race. Well, you're going to be broke, or that's crazy. Why would you do that? Like, geez. Another thing too is someone, and I've had this before too, someone who is mean to you and then they play it off as a joke. I've definitely had some comments said to me, even with certain people that are in my life right now, as I'm sitting here and thinking about it. And again, I'm not going to share because it'll be a dead giveaway, but, like, I don't know, just comments about my body, comments about, I don't know, like this, people say shit and they're really just being mean. Like it's not a fucking joke. And I would never talk to somebody else like that. Right. And I just want to say here too, like none of this has anything to do with us. They're the toxic person, not us. And another thing that's just so huge, like, do you feel drained or do you feel worse after hanging out with them? And that's just not okay. So I'm really using that as an identifier now moving forward with people that I surround myself with, which by the way, it's very important. The people that you surround yourself with is a big reflection of who you are or who you're going to be. And I don't want to have that around me, right? Like I want to be positive. I'm supportive. I love people and their goals and things they're doing. And I just, I love to see people happy and thriving. And it's just really, really unfortunate when somebody in your life is bringing you down, and it hurts, right? Because it's like, you want to be there. You want to be their friend. You want to have them in your life, but sometimes they just make it impossible. So with all this crap that a toxic person might do, and including my little dilemma here, let's talk about cutting them off and how are we going to do it? I think the biggest thing for me in all of these, in any situation that you're in with a toxic person, is the key is to distance yourself, like cutting back and slowly like just fading out, meaning you don't have to see them every weekend. You don't have to talk to them and text them every day. You can slowly just start backing off. Another thing is having these boundaries, right? Like setting new terms for your relationship. And I am definitely doing that. And Mr. Right and I have had a discussion. Another thing that I think is really going to be probably the most difficult thing for me is that you do not have to justify the reason why you're distancing yourself. You don't have to justify why you're setting new boundaries. And by the way, if they can't figure it out, like, wow, right? But that's something that I really have a hard time with. In fact, I called my brother and I was like, do you think I should like say like, hey, I'm really upset about this. I just want to let you know, like, it's not something I'm going to be able to get over. It's kind of unforgivable for me. Like, do I? And he was like, no, you don't owe any explanation, but I feel like I want to, right? Because I don't know. I like to smooth things over, right? Like, I don't want to have any kind of issue. God, drama. I'm like the most allergic person to drama ever. Okay. And then the last one is, you do not have to give like the explanation, but also you don't have to give a response, right? And by doing that, you don't have to engage when they do things to be like, well, what is your problem? Why are you so mad? I cannot believe you're upset about that. I was just joking. I said I was sorry. I meant it. Like, I didn't mean, whatever they're trying to do to reconcile things. Like, you don't have to entertain it. You don't have to give them a response to their reaction to it, right? And another thing I want to talk about too that I really, really love with toxic people is using the gray rock method. So you might have heard this before when you talk about narcissists. And what the gray rock method is literally you just become a gray rock. You become so boring. By the way, this has worked masterfully with people that I've had to do this with in my life, okay? It's hard to do because you want to stand up for yourself. You want to stick your chest out and be loud and proud about like how, you're right and you're standing tall and these are the reasons why. With people that are toxic, they're not going to give a fuck if you're right or not. Okay. So you're wasting energy, you're wasting time. And so going gray rock is zero reaction. Okay. And it really, really works. So if there's like a big reaction, I'm just going to say, okay. Right. Like, okay, I'm not going to get involved. And I also love the response of that's interesting. Like that's interesting. And there's no rebuttal to that. So just remember the gray rock method. I'm a huge, huge fan of that. All right. I feel like I'm speaking really fast. I think it's because I'm a little nervous about talking about this. But damn it, this is the reason why I started the show. And if I can't talk about real life stuff, if I can't talk about the tough stuff, what am I doing here? And I hope that when you're looking around the room at the people in your life, you think about like, are they a fountain? Are they a drain? And then move differently. Don't have this blow up or instance that I had because it's not fun and it hurts really bad. I just want to like close things off here by reminding everyone that, toxic people, like this has nothing to do with us, right? It's their insecurity. I also like to remember that no one that's doing better than you is going to have something negative to say about you. Okay. No one that's doing better than you is going to criticize you. So just remember that. Consider the source. Okay. All right. I am excited to talk to you next week because I have many updates about the lifestyle. What's new, what's totally changed, where Mr. Right and I are at in the lifestyle now, and how we plan to move forward. I'm also going to discuss, my God. Okay. It's definitely the end of the week. So anyways, I am definitely going to discuss too, like the group that we're in and like how it works. And I'll just give a little spoiler here. Like, we're kind of taking a step back when it comes to the lifestyle and the reasons. And there's really no reasons behind that other than we're really far away from everybody. And with our different schedules, it's just really difficult to get together. And so I'll be talking all about that. I will see you guys next Friday. Cheers to the weekend. I'm going to go get me a nooner. By the way, try the new, I always want to call it a resurrection. It's the golf, the grape transfusion. It's the new flavor of the High Noon. And I have to rate it a 6 out of 10. And I love grape. But, my favorite is the pineapple and the grapefruit. And I'm going to go get me a pineapple right now. An upside down one. See you guys next Friday.